Sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Alicia. Alicia. Unapologetically you. Okay. So, now, in one of my videos, I had begun to talk a little bit based off the top of my head from memories of what I've learned about Lilith and how the church have like tried to keep her from the Bible, and everybody believes that, or has always believed that Eve was Adam's first wife, right? So, in this first story time with MONEZ, and welcome, um, I want to kind of go back over a little bit more, only this time so that I don't sound like my head's bouncing all over the place, to help my memory of what I have read and learned more about her in recent years, since what we all grew up with in the church, what the Bible claims. So it says that, you know Lilith, which is also spelled Lilit, okay, like, and or it says it's also spelled Lilis, okay, or Lilith, okay, so it spells like three different ways. I would just spell the way it sounds, but in Hebrew, they recognize it a little different, and it also is a feminine figure in Jewish mythology. Now, she does not appear in the Hebrew Bible from what I've read, um, which does not surprise me, because, like I said, based off memory from what I've learned, and other people have too, that the churches hid her from the Bible because she wouldn't submit to Adam, as his first wife. And I can't say as a blamer, she was made and created to be equal with him. And so, yeah, I mean, what would you think as a female, as a woman, if you were supposed to be, equal to your male partner? I mean, what would you feel the same way? Would you want to submit instead of, being like, okay, well, why don't I have a choice? You know? So, but I guess all through Hebrew, actually, um, word Lilit, I guess is how you pronounce it, Lilit. it's it appears in the book of Isaiah. Now, specifically Isaiah 34:14. So look it up if you don't believe me. Um, the meaning of this word is debated with a lot of scholars, a lot of people, a lot of interpretations, ranging from, oh God, like many. Um, they she basically was described as a she demon and to night bird. So that's based on like Jewish folklore. They say that Lilith is said to have fled from the Garden of Eden because she did not want to submit to Adam, which is what I told you in my other video, um, where I was talking about it. Now, the reason I pulled up the information I have read about what they based on her is because I felt like I sounded in that last video that my memory was just confusing everybody because my head bounces around so much. And I apologize for that, but I can't help that always. And I'm not good at notes. So this time I thought, okay, I'm just going to pull it up, try to explain it a little better if I did confuse anyone. Um, but it's funny because it says what I'm looking at here, based on medieval Jewish folklore, Lilith is said to have fled the Garden of Eden, like I said, because she didn't want to submit to Adam. Do you blame her? She's supposed to be equal. She weren't asked, she weren't given a choice. She was told to submit, to do something she just felt she didn't have to do if she didn't want to or was ready. How do we know? Maybe she just wasn't ready. Who knows? But it's funny, Jewish folklore. Well, come on now. Why would you call that folklore? Because I have heard there was, I think it was, what was that? There was a monk who was within the Vatican, the Catholic Church, and he had come across something in a library down deep in the archives where they keep a lot of things that they buried. Well, this one piece of information that not even he was supposed to have found, I guess he found, it came across. I can't remember exactly how he found it. This was a while back. I can't even remember exactly how far, but it was a while back that I had listened to this documentary on how he found this information and how it changed even his whole thoughts as a monk. I mean, come on. Even he couldn't believe that. I was like, is this true? Can this be true? Seriously? We've been lied to? Is the church lying? So he dug deeper. He read more and found more hidden evidence. See, like I've said many times, the truth. Hold on. Sorry for the interruption. The dog barking. She heard the other one being taken outside by her daddy, who's home from work. Um, and her daddy is Jerry. Anyways, so back to Lilith. Okay, so yeah, she fled from the Garden of Eden. This, like I was saying, this monk found this hidden information, and another information I had read and watched on a documentary. So now let's skip down here. So they say that in 1887, okay, 1887, she first appeared in the Dead Sea Scrolls, okay, and afterwards in and excuse me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, okay, man, Mandaean, Mandaean. Sorry, however you pronounce that. I don't usually spell things out, but I'm having trouble pronouncing that. And Jewish sources from late antiquity and incorporated a short mythic story. It only gave a partial description of her. So, and you can look all this up, okay? Um, she is mentioned in Babylonian Talmud at Irvin. I can't even pronounce these words, so I apologize, but and she's mentioned in Leviticus 9a as a hot, fiery female. Now, really think about this stuff that they're writing about her. And this is all mythology, based on Jewish folklore, you know, Hebrew beliefs, blah blah blah. But why would the Catholic hide the true information that she really was in the actual Bible, not just Hebrew? She was removed from the Bible. Her story was removed and replaced with Eve's. Think about it. Why? Really think about that question. Why? She was a human, just like Eve, like us. She was a human being created just like us. We were all created, okay, supposedly what they say. None of us were actually there. Were you there? I weren't there. And I remember. Come on now. Seriously, think about this. So, really, all we've read, our generations before us have read, and our, family, great grandmothers, great grandfathers, and grandmothers. I mean, think about it, so on and so forth. The people in our time, 1900s and all that, we weren't there. We just know what we've read, right? We just know what we've been preached to, what we've been told, what we have been told to believe as the truth, right? I mean, think about back in Roman times. Why? Before, you know, Christianity was, banned. What brought that on? Think about that. Why did they stop? Why was, I don't know how I want to say this, but I just think about a lot of the stuff we grew up hearing, okay? Just think about that. Because if you really put the pieces together, really think about it, after reading and hearing what we've learned now, and for those of you who have not heard, about her true story of what they found, I mean, okay. So when I converted to Mormon, they claim their Bible, which was not the same as the Hebrew version, the Catholic version, the Baptist version, and all these different religions have different versions of their Bible based on, and they all think their Bible is the true Bible, right? Why is that? Think about all this. I mean, I guess what I want you all to do is just really open your eyes. Think about what we're reading in the Bible. Okay, so yeah, you grew up, say, in a Baptist church, the hearing about how God died on the cross for us, blah 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 blah, right? And I'm not making fun, and I'm not trying to insult anyone. Okay, I just want to figure this out like everybody else, because the more new evidence keeps being actually found, these scriptures, these tablets, I mean, the more that's being found just doesn't add up, except for one one possible reason. I'm not an expert, but I don't think you have to be an expert to figure this out. You just need common sense and to be not afraid to think for yourself. Okay. And just think about it. You know, why do I connect so much? Because, like Lilith, men, and I'm not saying man, I'm saying men, I'm not saying females, I'm saying men specifically, over time have made me feel like her, wanted me to submit against my will, wanted me to bite my tongue, be quiet. Women aren't supposed to be smart or smarter than some or most or all men, right? Women are way stronger than men if you think about it. If you ever seen a man go through childbirth, do you think he can handle it? No. Okay? No. I have watched grown men scream and cry over having a damn pimple popped. Okay? Could you imagine one going into labor and giving birth if that was, something that they could do? Think about that. Personally, I would love to see a man have to go through that so they know what we go through. Seriously, that would make my day just to have men be able to experience it once to see what kind of pain we actually have to endure, and they may have muscle, some of them, but there is a certain type of pain that goes way deeper than physical strength. There is a certain type of strength that goes way deeper than that. And women in that way are stronger than men. Think about that. So, yeah, I don't know. Wait, somebody keeps, oh, goodness, somebody keeps walking through my phone. But no, I relate to her a lot because I feel cast out. I feel like because I am an outspoken person, because I am a truth seeker, because I am extremely intuitive, and I know most of us are, we all really have intuition, or we should. Um, but some of us, it goes a little deeper to the point where we can almost read people without being psychic, without actually knowing what they're thinking. We can feel it. And it's hard to describe, but it's true, and I think outspoken women like myself, men want to make us feel delusional. And there are some women too that have done this to me as well. Because, they nobody wants to hear the truth. I've said this before. Nobody wants to be confronted, right? But I compare myself to her because I feel a lot like her. People don't like me because I'm different, because I'm not a follower, because I'm outspoken, because I am not afraid to call people out. I'm not afraid to, expand my mind more and be, open to anything. And I don't know, my mind just does not think the way a lot of people do. And because I'm different, that people fear that. And I don't mean like, ooh, scared of me type of way, intimidation. I mean, they fear what they don't understand. And most of the time, they don't even realize that and take it out on you in many different ways, whether it be verbally, mentally, manipulative, or whatever, sometimes even physical. I've always been a very outspoken person. And I know a lot of people think, oh my God, this girl, she said her mind is all over the place. She says this, she says that, but she's bouncing around like, but you know what? I don't mean to confuse people, first of all, but everything that's in my head is not delusional. People want to knock down people who are different, outspoken. They want to shut us up. No. And it's nice when I see younger people out there, especially women, females, like myself, who have been through similar things like that. It's nice to see them speak out. It's nice for them to see them open up and not be shut up and stop from speaking out. It breaks my heart and angers me at the same time when I see women who don't speak up enough, who choose to call me the delusional one. But yeah, I'm not being afraid to be myself. I'm not afraid to speak out anymore. For a long time, I let you know that happen to me, I by keeping my mouth shut more. But I've learned that it's not worth it. So if you got something to say it. So in saying that, yeah. Okay, guys, give me just a moment. I got a phone call coming in. I gotta take. All right, y'all, I gotta go, but I'll see you soon, and we'll just finish this story time on this discussion, because I think I want to dig a little deeper into this. Okay, stay strong, speak out, don't be afraid to be yourself. Who cares if you're different?